Hi babes, welcome back to my channel. Today's video I'm going to be doing the coveted, my favorite Morphe brushes. There's so many brushes that they have come out, so many that I haven't tried, but I have a lot of them and I have tried a lot. So out of all of them that I have, these are my favorites. These are what I go to. They're a mixture of a lot of different collections. Miss Brittany Jean to help me out today. Before we go ahead and get started, be sure to subscribe to my channel, hit the post notification bell right next to it, as well as hit the like button to give some love to my channel because, you know, we're all about spreading love on this channel, okay? Let's get into it. I have brushes ranging from all different sorts of price ranges and collections, and I will leave each and every single brush down below. And we're going to start off with face brushes first. So the first face brush that I absolutely feel like is a definite need is the Morphe E52 brush. So that's what this brush looks like right here. This brush is a powder brush, but it's a thick brush, so it's flat but it's thickums, so it can definitely put powder on where you need powder. It really works really great. It easily does it all over the face, which is why I love it so much. It's not so big and round that it's really skinny and flat, and you can just do it where you precisely need to apply the powder, and it works really well. My next powder brush that I have in this collection that I think is a definite must is the Morphe E41. This is the opposite of that brush, and this is a big old round big old brush like this one, the E41, and it's really big and round, and I just love it because it's so easily maneuverable and you can set your face so fast, so quick, and it'll stay set on your face, and I love it for this reason. I kind of switch between these two brushes here. Now for bronzer, I have 3 brushes, but I think these 3 brushes are honestly so good for this particular reason. It's really up to you and what you like and your price range. So they all have different price ranges and they all have different collections. So this one is the Morphe M527 brush. Now this one I think is in all of the stores, which is why I have it. I had it way beforehand when it was super popular, and this was one of the biggest lines that they had back then, but the one that I had before just shedded everywhere and all the time on me. This one does not, so they fixed that problem, and I love this brush. It works so good. It's what I use right now. But I also have 2 other ones that work so good. This first one is the Morphe R2 brush. It looks just like this. It's a synthetic brush like this one. And this one, you guys have seen me use it. I love it because it's so big and chunky and fat, and I love the way it applies bronzer, and it just looks and feels so good on the skin. I absolutely love this brush for that reason. Use it for bronzer, for contouring, for blush and bronzer, maybe some like highlight, like loose highlight or something. The last brush that I use for this reason is the R7 brush. Now this brush is so good as well. It just works so beautifully. It's very similar to that brush, except it's from the R collection, and I just think it's a little bit more slimmer. It definitely gets you more precise with the bronzer, and I absolutely love this brush as well. I think it's so nice and luxurious. My definitely favorite brush collection line is the rose gold one. Set under my eyes, I have 2 brushes that I use for my under eye powder, and yeah, they have 2 different price ranges. So the first one is the Morphe E48 brush. This one, I love it because it's so long and it's small and precise at the tip right here, and I love it because it definitely gets where you need it to get on the under eyes, the middle of the face, and underneath the contour. It's so small and precise. I'm obsessed with it. As for the second brush, it is from the gold collection or the gilded collection, and this is the Morphe Y11. I like this actual shape better for the under eyes more, just because I feel like it definitely applies so much nicer on the under eye. I love that brush too, but I like this one a little bit more as the shape can go into more crevices and, you know, it can set real good. And it's a Synthetica, so it just works so nice. Okay, this is the only contour brush that I actually personally love the most. And this is a Morphe R10 brush. So this is the one that I am obsessed with. As you can see, I'm using it right now. And I just love it because they have a different one. They have a similar one in their collection, but this one I like it because it's a little bit more smaller and precise. And I just love how you can just get right in there. There's no harsh lines with this brush, and I love it, and I just think it works so amazingly. It's definitely my favorite brush. For blush, I have two brushes that I'm obsessed with. So the first one is my cold-hearted, die-hearted favorite brush. It's the Morphe E4 brush. And this brush I'm obsessed with because it's like at an angle, but it's fluffy. So I just feel like it applies blush so wonderfully. It's beautiful. It gives you the effect that you want it to, and it just doesn't like splat the blush on your face. It's just so good and so airbrush looking. But if you want something with a rounder surface, this one is the one that I use and I love so much. This is a Morphe M437 brush. It's a circle brush, and I just love it because you can definitely use it for that purpose, or you can use it for contouring as well. You can definitely use it for both because it is a smaller, rounder brush, but it's not so small. It's nice, like medium. It's like a medium size. As for highlights, so I don't know if you guys know this, but I like to use a bigger brush to kind of give me an overall glow, and then I like to use a small brush to precisely go in with my highlight. So this is my big brush. I either go in with the M500, which is the one that I'm using as of late. It's like a long bristle brush, and I just love it. It works so good. Or you go in with the M509. It's a little bit shorter in length, but it still gives me that effect, and it's also a little bit more poofier. So it's really up to you how you want to use your highlight. I just like this one more because it's tapered and it just gets right, but this one is the one I was using before this one, and they're both fantastic. Another highlight brush that I am such a fan of, and this is the only fan brush that I love, and this one also gives that effect as the other one, but it's very precise as well. And this one is the Morphe M310, and this brush I got because Rezi recommended this brush, and she's like, that's the one I use for my highlighter, and everyone just went to go buy this brush. So that is why I bought it, and it's so good, it's so precise, and it just gets the highlight where you want it to be. And this is the only fan brush that I've met that I love. Okay. I used to love the other famous Morphe brush for highlighting until I met this guy, and then this one replaced that brush. This is the Morphe R36 brush. Now this one is from the Rose Gold collection, and as you can see, it's nice and small, but you can definitely fluff it out if you wanted to. But this is what I use for that precise highlight. Ooh, wet glass. I love that brush. I think it just makes your highlight so poppin', and it's so beautiful. I'm obsessed with it, and it just works so well. Let's talk about the last bit of the face brushes. These are all foundation brushes that I am obsessed with and I love, and I don't think I could ever choose between them. The first one is the Morphe Y6. Yes, the infamous Y6. As long, you guys know, like, Laura Lee really hyped this brush up, but it's because it's a good ass reason, because it just blends your foundation so well. If you want to use a brush for a foundation, some foundations are meant to be used for the brush, because if you use a sponge, it's a disaster. This brush I recommend for it. Next brush I first fell in love with from Morphe was the Morphe M439 brush. And this brush, it's literally the best brush ever. You just go in and you blend your foundation everywhere, and it just works so good. Get you with this brush. This brush is everything. These are the last little brushes that I use for foundation, and they're really small and precise, and I use them because I use school day or like a work day if you work in a really strict business place, or somewhere where you want your makeup not to look as full coverage maybe, or something like that, or if you just need a touch up throughout the day with whatever you're using. These two brushes are the ones that I use. This is the Morphe E8 brush. It's the bigger brush out of the two. It's a little bit bigger on here and I love it. And this is the Morphe E45, which is the smaller one, which I absolutely love as well. Here side by side, you can tell this one's obviously smaller, but I love them for that reason. Now I don't have a nose contour brush that I love from Morphe because the only brush I use is my Luxie little brush. But I do have a brush that is Untouchable by Morphe that I use for nose highlighting. Yes, nose highlighting. If you watch my nose contour video, you know that I nose highlight just as much as I nose contour because I feel like both definitely work in your favor. This is the Morphe MO brush. Now this comes in a trio set, but I think this is worth the trio. This is from Brittany Bear, if I'm correct. This is the best brush that I personally have found that works for the reason that I want it to, and that's to kind of touch up that around the nose area and just specifically use it for that reason. You can definitely use it for like an eyelid color or something like that, but this is what about it, and that's why I love it. Don't have like a favorite brush to kind of bake because I don't really like using a brush for it. I'd rather use my beauty sponge. But for baking under like the eye, or like kind of baking the nose, or like making sure I have this set on my face, if I have my face on before my eyes, and this is the brush I use, and this is the Morphe E47. I absolutely love this brush. I feel like it does do a great guidance, and you know, I like it for the middle of the nose because this one is a little bit big and this one is thin, and I can just do plop, plop, and it's really good. Those are all the face brushes for this part. So let's go into the eye brushes. So starting off, this is my favorite brush for nose highlighting, lip cupid's bow, inner corner highlight. I use the same brush for everything in the center of the face. And this is the M431. This is the best brush I personally have found. Like I said, I use it for all of this, and this is the only brush I feel like that gives that punch for that specific reason, and I love it. There's no other brush in this collection that you need. This brush I absolutely feel like you need in your collection for the eye. So this is the brush that I use for the first transitional shade. I feel like it just buffs everything to perfection, and I feel like you have to have this brush for every single look. And this is the M504. So you can find that M504. I have a couple of blending brushes here for you, and I'm excited. So the first one that I'm going to use is because I used it already today for this eyeshadow look. This is the M518 brush, and it looks like this. It's a white goat hair brush. As you can see, the tip is very rounded, but it's a tall round, so it can get the crease area blended really, really nicely, and it likes to have the pigment on here very, very well, and it just doesn't feel scratchy. It blends super, super nice, so that's why I am loving that brush. Similar brush to that, but it's a little bit more fluffy outwards, just the tiniest bit, but it makes a big difference. So this is what I would use for like another transitional shade, nothing too crazy. This is the M573 brush, and like I said, it's just a little bit more outwardly round, so that's why I like this one. I feel like it really works really, really well, and it blends it really, really well. Again, it blends super, super good. I just feel like all these brushes are slightly fluffier or slightly more skinnier, and there's different shadows and stages per brush. If you guys are asking what brush soap I use a basic ass soap, and if you're Mexican, you know what soap Zote is. Z-O-T-E, that's what I use, and I use it to wash all my makeup brushes and sponges, and it works just fine, and everything is super soft and delicately and beautiful. The last fluffy brush that I'm obsessed with, that I also use religiously, is the Morphe R37. This one I love so much because it's like it tapers in the middle and it just works so well. So you can use this as the first transitional color, or you can just use the very center and do it for the actual crease area. And I'm obsessed with this brush. It's so good. Last two brushes that are similar, but they are way skinnier. The less skinnier one of that one is the Morphe M441. And this one is also really well. I love this brush for that reason, for the crease. I just feel like it blends simultaneously so beautiful, and I love it. So yeah, M441. The tiniest one out of all of these are the M513. M513, yeah. And I love it. It just looks so good. It works so well. And the last brush that kind of is similar to the first brush, but it's a lot more smaller than that one. This one is the M505, and this one works really well for the crease as well. It's fluffy, but it's smaller than the other one, so you can definitely use a darker shadow or a more pigmented shadow to kind of build up the crease area as well. These two brushes are similar brushes. I just don't know what this name of this one is, just because it rubbed off. It's like the M433, but it's the R version and I love it. And obviously the M433, they're both very similar, except they use the R one more, but again, this one rubbed off. So I'm so sorry on that one. Now let's get into like precise brushes and crease brushes. I have a couple to go through here. And these are the last of the brushes out of all my favorites. I know it looks like it's a lot, but I have been building up my brush collection for years. It's like my third year this year doing makeup, and you can collect some over time. So I've given some away, but I have kept a lot of the brushes my own self. So I personally don't have an eyebrow brush from Morphe that I feel like I am 100% obsessed with for the eyebrows, just because I'm literally the pickiest person ever in the world for eyebrows. And the brush that works just for me is from Kat Von D. So, but I do have one that works really well to cut the brow underneath here and create a line and blend it out, and it just looks so good. This one is the Morphe E43 brush. I love her because she is a really nice little synthetic flat brush, but this flat brush, I specifically use it for carving out the brow. I don't really use it for like lower lash line work. I just use it for this purpose, but you can also use it for that as well. Second flat brush that I have in here that I specifically use it for the under eye is the M432. Now this one is a little bit longer and bigger, and I use this one because it's so precise. It buffs out everything really well, and I love it because you can just bring this down with this specific brush, and it's so good for that reason. Again, you can use this to carve out the brow, where this one you can do for your eyebrows. Like, there's just so much for this brush. It has so much potential. So the next little crease, like super into the crease brush that I use, this one is the E28 brush. And this one, I like it because it's super domey, and as you can see, it's like long and domey, and I feel like it really gets in the product in the crease very well, very blendable, and I love this brush. If you want a more tiny precise brush that you can blend out the lower lash line or even more precisely in the crease, this is the E17 brush, and I do like this for that reason. Again, they're both very similar brushes, but they're very one is larger than the other one, and the larger one is a little bit more tapered at the top. And this one is the E17. This brush is a little bit different. Oh wait, E17. So this one is the newer E17, and this one I like specifically to pack on like dark shadow on the outer corner, again for the crease, or doing on the lower lash line. I feel like this brush, the newer one, works just as well. But you know, if you didn't know, they had like a revamp of the Elite collection, so I have some of the new ones and the old ones in my collection. Next brush that I have, this is the E18 brush. Now this one is a little bit larger than the next brush that I'm going to show you, but this one buffs out the lower lash color on the lower lash line so well. This one is super good. I highly recommend this one as well. It's so nice for the lower lash line. So these two brushes are my favorite brushes for the lower lash line, like super detailed work. I don't know why one is smaller than the other one, but they're the same brush, and it's the Morphe E36 brush, and they work just as good on the lower lash line. Again, one is just smaller than the other one, but they are technically the same brush, and I love it for super detailed under eye work. These brushes I love specifically for super detailed crease work. They just work so well. They're really small blending brushes, and I didn't know I needed really small blending brushes until I had them, and then they just are the other things that work for me. This one is the M506 brush from Morphe, and this works so good. Like, this brush you definitely need in this collection. I just feel like it just gets in the crease, you get that darkest shade, and it just buffs out into the other shade, and it's just so good. It's just everything. Now, if you want any more precise little brush, now this one is the best brush ever in the world. This is the Morphe M507. And this one is very, very pointed at the end. It just buffs out everything beautifully, and that's what I used for today for this color right here. And top notch. Okay, last crease little brush. Now this one is a really good one. This is one I also use for that reason, and this one is the M562. Now this one is just a little bit more rounder and longer, and it's a white haired brush, and I really, really like it for that particular reason. This one is a little bit more flimsier, so you can get a little bit more movement through the eye. This is the only liner brush that I like to use from Morphe. I just feel like it's the only one that works for the type of work that I like. Works really, really well for eyeliner work or very, very precise like detail work. This is the Morphe M250-1. A yellow tail hair brush, and it's super duper small, and I feel like it just works so well for eyeliner. Your eyes, on the waterline, you can use this for like maybe crease work. If you're really, really like one of those people that do that kind of precise work, this works really, really well. The rest of these brushes are flat shader brushes, which means they go on your eyelid, your brow bone, anywhere you want to really, really put them on. So this brush is, I honestly don't think it's available, but I want to share with you because this is my favorite brush, and you guys want me to use my favorite brushes. So this one was in a, I think 2 years ago, in a brush collection for the holidays, and it was in a set, and it's a white handle, and it's just a flat brush. It doesn't give me a name, but it's a flat brush, and I just love this particular brush for the brow bone when I set it because it works so good. For the lid, I have two different brushes that I use. The first one, depending if it's matte or wet, honestly, I really don't care. I use both finishes for these brushes. This first one is the M167. It's a little bit bigger and it's a little bit stiffer. You can definitely use this for the brow bone as well, but you can definitely put this on the lid. It works super, super well. It's a nice little brush, and it looks just like this one. This one is a little bit tinier and skinnier, and it has the same kind of effect, but it's a little bit skinnier as well. This one is the M124, and I love this one. And I feel like this one works just as good, and it's a little bit more precise and small. Last but not least, I use this for the inner corners, and like I said, the other brush, I use that for the inner corners as well, but this one is more small, so if you want to really pack a punch, this is what I use. This is a Morphe M213. You can use for the inner corners as well as the brow bone. And it's super duper itty bitty small little brush, but it works so good for those reasons. And that's it. Those are all the brushes I used for Morphe, and these are my favorites. I can honestly say that I use every single brush that I love, and if I didn't show it, or there's a certain style of brush that I didn't use for, there's a reason why. But if you have ones that you think I should definitely use and I didn't mention, definitely let me know so I can check those out. I do also want to let you guys know that I do use this Morphe beauty sponge the most. I have the original beauty sponge, but this one I love way more. This one is the highlight contour one. I have another one right here. So this is how they come, and then you wash them. I mean, you get them wet and they look like this. And I love it because it has a flat edge to do your foundation, flip it, bake, flip it, under eye, flip it again, bake, and it's the best sponge in my opinion, because these Morphe sponges do not take away so much product. Like, it doesn't soak in product like other sponges, and I just love it. It's the best. Please buy one. It's amazing. Woo! Now that was a lot. So yeah, that's all the Morphe brushes and sponges that I personally use, and those are my top favorites. So I hope you guys enjoyed these videos. Again, I am going to link every single one down below for you, so you will know which one I love. And yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Again, let me know what video you want me to film next after the Jacqueline series. And yeah, I love you guys so much. Please remember to subscribe, like, hit the post notification bell, and I will see you in my next video. Adios.